Okay, so yesterday the college football playoff teams were announced yesterday, and Notre Dame was the team that did not get in, that has everybody riled up. And there's been a lot of conversation about them not making the college football playoffs, and people are not happy with Alabama getting in over them, which I totally understand. I think Alabama had a bad loss to Georgia in that SEC championship game, and I think that there needs to be some kind of repercussion when you lose the conference championship game. I know the committee says that there isn't any negative repercussion, but I think there should be. There was for BYU. There was for also North Texas. There was also for. Before I continue, though, I just want to say real quick with the Miami Notre Dame conversation that was going on for the past couple weeks. I was on the Miami side of things. I thought Miami deserved to be in over Notre Dame because they had the head-to-head win. I think head-to-head just has to matter. The way they went about it, though, in the rankings for the past couple weeks and the way it just changed on Selection Sunday is bizarre. I think in the college football playoff rankings, Miami should have just always been ranked ahead of Notre Dame, or at least like one spot below Notre Dame in the rankings. That just was kind of weird and bizarre. I know some other things happened, obviously, like with BYU losing and stuff, but again, I didn't like how that was going. And there was a lot of issues with the ranking system and stuff that you can go on about for hours, but mainly just want to talk about Notre Dame here. So anyway, back to the Notre Dame Alabama thing. I wasn't surprised with Alabama being into the college football. I'm not that shocked that Alabama got into college football playoffs. They're in the SEC. The SEC gets a lot of bias from ESPN and from the committee. And obviously, there would have been a lot of eruption from Greg Sankey and a lot of chaos if Alabama lost and did not make the college football playoffs. There would have been a lot of controversy and a lot of noise coming from the SEC. And who knows how things would look after the offseason if Alabama did not make the playoffs. And of course, too, you got to talk about the money and all of it. They're going to make a lot of money with Alabama being in because they're in the SEC and because ESPN is the main sponsor of the SEC now. So, again, not very shocked by that. I don't agree with it whatsoever, but it is what it is. And for Notre Dame fans, yeah, you guys got screwed. I think besides that, everything else makes sense. I know the two group of five teams making it is kind of crazy, but this is just how the current rules are. I'm sure things are going to change in the future. But one thing I find interesting is Notre Dame's response to not making the college football playoffs. They have decided to not play in the bowl game against BYU and instead not play in a bowl game at all. This is obviously a protest against the NCAA and more specifically the College Football Committee after they felt like they've been slighted since they were supposed to be in the playoffs after the past couple weeks with the way the college football playoff rankings were looking. And then all of a sudden they're not. They get booted ahead of Alabama and Miami, and they just got really mad. And obviously, this is probably a decision by the AD. Maybe Marcus Freeman had something to do with it as well. I think it's probably a mixture of the two, but I think it sucks that they did that, and I think it's really bad for the sport. And I think it really sucks for the players, especially the seniors, because a lot of those seniors are not going to make it to the NFL. They're just going to go on to their work career, and this was one more chance for them to play football again, and I think that really sucks for them, and I don't like it in general. I think it is still a great thing to play in a bowl game because you also get 15 to 20 more practices. It's great for the young players, freshmen who didn't play or, players to develop more to potentially become starters for the team. I just think it's a good idea. I know bowl games have been diminished in value the past couple of years. I mean, we saw teams and players we've seen players elect not to play in the Rose Bowl. We've seen players elect not to play in the Fiesta Bowl or multiple different kind of New Year's Six Bowls in the past couple of years, and will go to the NFL instead or go to the transfer portal instead of playing in those bowl games. And I think that also sucks, don't get me wrong, but I think it just sucks that a team that had a great season decide not to play in a bowl game just because they feel slighted. I think you should still play in the bowl game. I think it's great for fans. I think it's great television. Bowl season is one of the best times of the year. But I understand, too, the college football landscape's changing, and bowls and conference championship games don't have the same meaning as they once did. But it's still something I want to hold on to at least, but I know it's not what the committee is probably going to do. And also the AD today was talking about how he was upset and frustrated with the ACC and said that the relationship is going to be fractured between them now. As you know, Notre Dame is a non-football member of the ACC conference, and they were upset that the ACC didn't push for them more to make the college football playoffs. Instead, we're pushing for Miami to make it. And to that, I don't understand why they would think they would push for them to make it over Miami. Miami's a football member of the conference. Notre Dame's not. They're going to want Miami to get into the college football playoffs because it helps their conference out having one of their teams get in, not a team that's only a non-football member into the college football playoffs. And I also saw that there's a rule starting next year that if Notre Dame makes it into the top 12, no matter what, they get into the college football playoffs, which I guess I understand, but I think that's only going to be in place because they're not in a conference and they don't want to hurt them for not being in a conference and respect their independence, which I actually don't have a problem with, to be honest. I don't have any issue with Notre Dame being an independent. And I do wonder now, though, if Notre Dame is going to look at being part of a conference member for football more after seeing what has happened this past weekend. I'm not entirely sure, but I think if there's ever a time Notre Dame loses its independence, I think seeing how this played out for them with them not making the playoffs, I think this would be a reason for them to go into a conference. But I'm not entirely sure. But it's just been crazy ever since yesterday with all the drama with the college football committee and with the teams and being involved. And I think the 12-team playoff has been bad for the sport so far. It feels like a lot of teams have just been really upset. A lot of people in the media have been complaining the frustration with the G5 team getting in. And I think going back to the 4-team playoff would be a good idea. I mean, there was not that much outrage if a team didn't get in. The only time I could really remember there was real outrage was when Florida State didn't get in, instead Alabama did. That was the only real time. I know there's been okay, some other team should have gotten in over this team, but not a huge outrage. It seems like now with the 12-team playoff, more teams have been outspoken and more outraged and have been pushing their team to get into the college football playoffs now than in the years past. And it's just been annoying and nauseating to deal with. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more football content. Peace.